One of the ripple effects of living in isolation these days is boredom. And in honor of our confirmation students, I want to name it and I want to talk about it because I know that teenagers especially who miss their friends and miss all the ways that they would be gathering socially at this season might find themselves struggling with boredom. And I want you to know you're in good company. According to Gary Rosenblatt, the editor of the Jewish Week, the greatest threat to Jewish life in general and at this stage of Jewish history is boredom. Judaism is complicated and fascinating and adaptable and strong and deep and wide and imaginative and, dear confirmands, it is not yet finished. This is what I want to say to you as you're preparing for your confirmation day. Judaism is old and eternal, that's true, but Jewish life is always still in the making, and that's where you come in. I hope that by now our confirmands are on to the fact that Judaism is more than boobies and chicken soup, more than bagels and Jewish jokes, more than Israel and more than tzedakah, more than Holocaust remembrances and calls for never again, more than Manish Chana at the Seder table, and even more than Holy Blossom Temple and all of Bathurst Street combined. I wish to tell our confirmation class of the year 5780 that most of all we want you to be curious, question and challenge and doubt what you think you've learned so far. You should know that Judaism can handle it. 4,000 years of philosophies and poetries and prayers can handle your big questions, your big ideas. What Judaism can't handle is your boredom. Boredom is an insult to the Jewish leaders and scholars, artists and writers, teachers and activists who walked before you. If you choose to be lazy or passive in your Jewish pursuits, you will find it lacking. You will. But if you are rigorous in your studies, if you are rigorous in your prayer, if you are committed to acts of chesed and acts of justice and acts of drawing community and people together, I promise you will never be bored. Bored kids all over the world might say every year it's the same old thing. Same holidays, same Torah stories, over and over and over again. When a student famously complained to the Hasidic master about this centuries ago, the teacher replied, it's true. The Torah doesn't change year to year. But you, dear student, you do. Hafoch ba v'hafoch ba, turn it over and over again, teaches Pirkei Avot, for when you turn the Torah over and over, you will find that everything is in it. Everything is there for your discovery. Look into it, grow old and experienced over it, never move from it, for you will find nothing better than it. We take your boredom seriously. Boredom needs to be taken seriously by parents and teachers and government officials and therapists. Boredom is a serious problem in our society today. Boredom signals that it's time to search for meaning, to dig down deeper. It signals that it's a time to pursue intellectual stimulation and spiritual growth. It's true that we can keep busy and we can stay active, and that might keep our bodies healthy, but a busy life is not enough to address boredom. King Solomon was bored. After living a very busy life of a king, a busy life of privilege, Kabbalat discovers the following: the sum of the matter, when all is said and done, this is what matters most: revere God and observe the mitzvot, for this is the purpose of humanity. Boredom tempts us to believe that there is no meaning in life. King Solomon once complained with a profound and heavy sigh, there is nothing new under the sun. Ein chadash tachat hashamash. But the majority of the Hebrew Bible stands in direct opposition to this verse and tells us, yes, there is something new. How so? When we love, when we give, when we create, when we learn, when we devote, when we commit, when we affirm, and when we confirm, that is when we discover what is new and we create what is new. Judaism at its best answers the question of existential boredom. What should I do now? There's nothing to do. What can I do? The answer comes with an intricate and beautiful system of commandments that demand introspection and action and divine service. Mitzvot turns the kvetchy question, what should I do, into the empowering question of, who am I? And what will I become? What ought I become? We are our deeds. Judaism doesn't lose on the simple question, how should I fill my day? Judaism doesn't lose time, not a single moment, on the question of how should I fill my day. Judaism asks instead, how shall I live? How will I find meaning and purpose in this God-given life of mine? And Judaism emphasizes deed over creed so that we can answer the deeper questions of who we are by the goodness that we bring to the world. This past week was Mitzvah Day, Mitzvah Week at Holy Blossom Temple. We say every week is Mitzvah Week at Holy Blossom, but this past week we called special attention to it, and it was a celebration of mitzvot of all kinds. I know many congregants are busy performing quiet mitzvot in the safety of their own homes, but somehow having an impact on the world outside nevertheless. And we celebrate you, we salute you, we praise you for all of those small acts and some very large acts of goodness. Tomorrow night, we're going to be joining for a special Havdalah at 9 o'clock. All are welcome. And part of what we'll have then is a slideshow where we have captured, by way of some selfies and some short video clips, some examples of just some of the mitzvot performed by some of the members of our congregation, our children, our teens, our adults, and our seniors as well. So I hope you'll join us at 9 o'clock for Havdalah. And I also want to invite everyone, you may have noticed there's a link somewhere nearby on the screen, and maybe again in the comments section, that tells you how you can join a Shabbat dinner table tonight. We tried this for the first time on the night of the Seder, and it worked so beautifully that we thought, let's try it again. If you're a little bored, if you're a little lonely, if you're feeling a little bit cut off and you'd like to meet some fellow Jews, some fellow congregants for Shabbat dinner, all you need to do after the service is to log off from the service and then click that link again, and just be patient. It might take a moment or two while we're shuffling the registrants, and you'll find yourself in the good company of fellow travelers. And you have to provide your own meal, of course, but the company will be provided by Holy Blossom Temple. So we invite you to do that, and don't be shy, give it a try. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Okay, another mitzvah is to count the Omer day by day.